Hello everyone and welcome to the Transit Nomad family. In this video we will be taking a look at the key area of EU and discussing a little bit why did Brussels become the European capital. Before we get started, I'd like to let you know that I am in Belgium for a couple of weeks, and at the end of this trip I'll be recording my final verdict video comparing Belgium with other countries to help you decide if you should visit, while also saving you lots of time and money with practical tips on how to get the most out of your trip. This will be an exclusive video, but you can easily gain access to it by subscribing or donating any amount on buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad or through the link in the video description below. With that being said, let's begin taking a look at this area, which is the heart of the European Union. I am here for the first time and we are looking at the Parliament building, which, just so you know, offers free tours. Anybody can go inside and learn more about how the European government works. I did not book a tour for today because I wanted to explore more of Brussels and see the outside of different areas. But if you do have a little bit of time, I think it might be a good idea to actually book that tour and go inside. From what I've learned, it's kind of similar to going to the Congress building in the United States. They also offer free tours. And this is something like that, but not for the United States, but for the European Union. And this is what the Parliament building looks like on the outside. It's kind of a nice square in front of it, pedestrian area with some chairs and some landscaping, some plants. It looks pretty nice, not too impressive, but also fairly nice and definitely worth checking out at least once. And it's also nice knowing that this is the place where a lot of the discussions and a lot of the decisions are being made that affect people all over the world. And it's nice to be standing right here in this spot. So I was doing a little bit of research for this video. I was trying to learn why exactly Brussels and not any other city became the capital or the unofficial capital of the European Union. It's not the official capital. It's never been announced that Brussels is the capital of the European Union, but it just happens so most of the important buildings and establishments and agencies that are in charge of a lot of different things, they are located in Brussels. And I'm not sure if the information I'm going to share with you is 100% accurate, because as you know, on the internet you can find a lot of different things, and I did not really spend too many hours researching or verifying everything. But from what I understand, when the European Union was being formed, first it started with a smaller number of countries and smaller agreements that later grew into European Union. And the countries they couldn't agree on deciding where the capital is going to be. Every country had their own opinion, and some of them, not all of them, wanted Belgium to be the country where the capital is, or where all the main buildings are. But what happened was, because they couldn't agree on it, then they decided to take turns hosting the European government and changing it. I believe every year or every once in a while they would change it from one country to the next, and this is the only kind of middle ground that they could compromise and agree on. And they decided to do it by alphabetical order, and Belgium and Brussels start with letter B, which is why I believe they decided to go with Belgium first. And what happened after that, because so many people started working here, and they started moving all the things here in terms of the logistics and computers and offices and building all this stuff. And then when it came time to move, it was too much hassle to move to another city, all that stuff, all those buildings, all those people with all the equipment, everything. And they decided to stay in Brussels. And then I don't know if they decided to stay in Brussels forever at that moment, but apparently it's still here in Brussels where the parliament is and where a lot of the important buildings are located. So it's definitely something interesting. So it was never decided on purpose. It just happened to be the case because Brussels and Belgium were first in the alphabetical order before other cities that were competing for being the main cities in the European Union. And not all the most important buildings are located in Brussels. Actually, a lot of it is in other places, but all the most important stuff and the majority of it is in Brussels. And now we're going to be making our way straight this way to see what's on this side. As you can see, I'm not the only one checking out this area. A lot of people from all over the world are curious to take a look at what's going on over here. You can see a lot of different flags that represent many different countries. As I was saying earlier, and as you can probably see in the video, a lot of these buildings, they're not too impressive when it comes to architecture, but I guess they serve their purpose because the government of the European Union has been staying here for a long time. And it also happens so that Belgium is located kind of in the middle, in between different countries. It's next to Germany, it's next to France, it's close to England, it's close to the Netherlands, and it's very convenient for commuting and having meetings and delivering different kinds of things. Right now in 2025, a lot of the stuff is done online, but as you can imagine, that was not the case in the 1950s. So that was definitely a major factor, I think, when they were making those decisions where to continue having those important buildings and having the government. And now we are checking out this little park that's right next to it, right next to the parliament. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's interesting to take a look at this. You don't see a lot of people here right now because almost all of it is in the direct sun, and it is August and it's kind of hot in Belgium today, especially in Brussels. It's around 30 degrees and it's definitely one of those hot days. If you are outside, you might want to hide from the sun, and that's why you see people taking advantage of those shady benches and not the ones that we just passed. And by the way, if you know the whole story or you have anything you'd like to add about the story I've shared with you, please feel free to do so. I'm definitely curious to learn more about the history of Belgium and Brussels and European Union. And I'm really curious why Brussels is the capital. That's why I started researching about this, because to be honest, I've been traveling to a lot of different cities, a lot of different continents, a lot of different countries, and Brussels does not seem like the best city out of all the cities, especially when it comes to Europe. So I was really curious to understand why Brussels, why not any other place. Brussels has a lot to offer, but and it is a good city, but it does have a lot of problems too, and it's not exactly the place that I would think of as the capital unless it were the capital for some reason. And it reminds me a little bit of, I'm not saying that Brussels is exactly like Washington DC, but it reminds me a little bit of the idea, because Washington DC in the United States is the capital of the country, but it's not the best city in the country. It's not the most comfortable city to live in. It's not the cleanest city. It's not the best city in terms of a lot of things. In terms of entertainment, architecture, and city mobility, Washington DC is not the best. And it's also full of different kinds of people. It's not very safe. You might run into some interesting, strange, odd characters here and there, and lots of trash. And it's still the capital. And I was a little bit shocked when I was visiting Washington DC, but now I am in Brussels. This part of Brussels is relatively nice and clean, but if you walk a few blocks, you will see a lot of all kinds of characters. And I've been approached multiple times by strange characters and asked for things, and just not the cleanest, not the nicest experience. But still, it definitely offers beautiful architecture and very cute streets, a lot of cafes and galleries and restaurants, and cool buildings to look at, some museums as well. So Brussels is a good place to visit, but it's definitely not my favorite place in Europe. Even inside Belgium, other cities seem to be a little bit more attractive in some ways than Brussels, but a lot of it depends on the crowd. If you're surrounded by people who are asking you for stuff and asking for money or looking at you in a strange way, of course, then you're gonna feel uncomfortable, no matter how beautiful the architecture or the surrounding area is, and vice versa. So on this note, to conclude this video, I would like to let you know that as an active traveler and business owner with experience, I might be able to assist you with trip planning, life coaching, and business consulting, with all the details available at buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad. This is where you can also find lots of exclusive content on many different cities around the world, my secret tips, PDF guides, and the option to request a custom video on any topic that matters to you. Once again, all of that info is available at buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad or through the link in the video description below. Thank you everyone for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.